Tonight, a suicide bomber kills dozens of children in Nigeria. Who is responsible for the attack and what this means for the Islamic State? First, tonight.
Later, ex-Apple users are having trouble finding their text messages, where they are hiding and how Apple is handling it. The answer may surprise you.
Plus, every college kid has a Tide laundry pod laying around. A new report shows these little cleaners are highly dangerous to young children.
Welcome to the MCTV Weekly News Update. Today is November 11th, 2014. Happy Veterans Day. I'm Amber Smith.
And I'm Clancy Burke. Tonight, nearly 50 children are dead in a suicide bombing. The militant group Boko Haram is responsible for initiating an attack on a school assembly in a Nigerian town. An individual dressed as a student caused the explosion. The militant group is currently focusing on preventing children from attending school. They believe that only males are entitled to an Islamic education. Thousands of people have been killed by Boko Haram this past year.
State Department spokesperson Jen Psaki spoke out against the attacks. Here's a bit of what she had to say.
We condemn in the strongest terms the horrific attack on Nigerian students by a suicide bomber, which has reportedly killed dozens of students and wounded countless others at a school assembly in the northeastern Nigerian town of Potiskum, as well as other attacks on defenseless civilians this past week in Nigeria. Our sympathies and thoughts are with the victims and their families of these latest egregious assault on innocent civilians by those bent on fomenting violent extremism and insecurity in northeastern Nigeria and the region. We urge the government of Nigeria to investigate these and other attacks to bring the perpetrators to justice.
This past week, the United States was reunited with two of its long-lost citizens. Kenneth Bae and Michael Todd Miller arrived on U.S. soil last Saturday after spending 2 months imprisoned in North Korea. They were released from captivity by Kim Jong-un following a rare visit to the country by a top U.S. official who was delivering an apology letter on behalf of the men's behavior. Upon their arrival on U.S. soil, Bae and Miller thanked both the U.S. and North Korean government for their release.
The 2014 midterm elections have come and gone, providing a huge victory for the Republican Party. Republicans took the U.S. Senate, captured a number of governors' offices, and strengthened their control of the House of Representatives. With a net gain of 2 governors, the Republicans now have a total of 31 governors. President Barack Obama takes full responsibility. "We got beat," he said on Friday, blaming the loss on how he presents his ideas rather than the ideas themselves.
Also of national interest, Ebola nurse Casey Hickox doesn't want to listen to reason. After being held in quarantine for 21 days after arriving home from an Ebola-infected country, Hickox is now planning to take a trip with her boyfriend to South Maine. After her quarantine, Hickox was advised to remain home, preventing potential spreading of Ebola. Hickox felt that this additional time at home was a violation of her natural rights.
Sorry to bring this up again, folks, but we're not the only ones talking about Ebola. It's Facebook. If you haven't seen this already, Facebook users have been greeted this past week with a message saying, quote, "Your name, you can help stop Ebola." Facebookers have the option of donating to 3 nonprofit organizations working in West Africa. With over 1 billion users, it's clear that Facebook is targeting a monstrous fundraising audience. If you don't wish to donate, simply close the window and continue reading your newsfeed. You know, I actually saw YouTube just started this also, and they say for every $1 that you donate, they'll donate 2.
I think it's great that they're trying to get the word out and donate to West Africa, but I also think it's important that we start maybe some fundraising efforts here to donate to the hospitals so we can better prepare them if we do get more cases of Ebola here, because it seems as if they aren't as prepared as they could be.
You know, that's so true, and it's such a big problem.
From Ebola to the common cold, cooler temperatures means more illnesses spreading.
It's important to follow your doctor's orders when taking prescriptions to fight these bugs. Here's Susan Hendricks with today's Health Minute.
Whether you use over-the-counter or prescription medicine, it most likely means you're looking for something to make you feel better. Following instructions for your medication is a big deal.
If you veer from the plan that you and your physician have come upon and agreed upon, then you're not going to get the result that should have been there.
Pharmacist Rich Tomalevich says that applies to most medications.
In antibiotic therapy, the infection may never go away. Antidepressant therapy, you truly never may get to what's called steady state, and it may never be truly effective. Blood pressure medication may truly never work.
Research shows that 50% of Americans don't take their medicine as prescribed, and the ramifications can be significant. Non-adherence to medication guidelines causes 30 to 50% of treatments to fail and 125,000 deaths annually.
For anything to truly work the way you want it to, you have to give it a true shot. You have to give it a chance.
Tomalevich says if you miss a dose, ask for help to get back on track.
That's what a pharmacist is for. A pharmacist is there to answer your questions specifically because it truly depends on the medication.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Susan Hendricks.
Back to Facebook, the social giant updated their status this week, creating a new way for users to control and understand their home pages. Some of the features include an easier way to unfollow pages and people. Facebook has received complaints in the past for controlling what people see. With 864,000 million people checking their newsfeed daily, Facebook recognizes their power. The new changes are the company's way of giving control to their users over the mysterious newsfeed.
While we're online, some of the earliest pages from the World Wide Web have been brought back to life and are browsable, giving current internet users a blast from the past. Stanford University libraries made these sites available with their customized open source platform, permitting access to a collection of web content. The release is part of the library's goal to collect, preserve, and provide open access to the pages just in time for the web's 25th anniversary. Updates to the archives will be uploaded into Stanford's site in phases.
They say breaking up is hard to do. This is especially true for Apple. Massive consumer base. Upon leaving Apple devices and switching to an Android device, users found that they weren't receiving texts and that those that came through were disappearing. Apple's iMessage was still connected to the number and it was sucking up their texts. Apple has finally moved on from its consumer love affair, providing a way for users to opt out of iMessage services. Well, that's kind of creepy that your iMessages are still attached to your number when you've moved on from their service. That makes me think that maybe there might be some privacy issues.
And it makes me think that maybe Apple is trying to do this on purpose, kind of like a little punch for leaving them.
Yeah,
you know?
trying to get you to come back, maybe.
Completely. If you managed to pick your head up from your iPhone today, you may have noticed it was a beautiful day.
Let's head over to Rose Shannon with your weekly highs and lows report.
Thanks, guys. This week has been a cold one, although not as cold as in the Midwest, where an early snowstorm hit on Monday night. The storm caused travel problems, power outages, and school closings throughout the region and beyond. It extended from Idaho through South Dakota and northern Michigan and brought cold temperatures all the way to Texas and Colorado. This unexpected weather was caused by a bomb cyclone, an intensifying storm that shifted the jet stream, bringing cold air, snow, and low temperatures to much of the U.S. The bomb cyclone was the result of the recent super typhoon Nuri that hit Alaska last week. Nuri intensified over Alaska's Aleutian Islands last week, bringing cold Arctic air and intense conditions. Looking at the weather close to home, today was an overall nice day weather-wise. Today's high was 65, though do not let that temperature fool you. We are getting closer to winter as the sunset keeps setting earlier. Today's sunset was at 4:39. Tonight, it will be cool with low clouds and a temperature of 46 degrees. As for tomorrow, it will be partly sunny with a high of 63 degrees. For the rest of the week, expect cool temperatures in the 40s and sun, and Monday brings us the first possible chance of flurries. That's all the time I have for you today with your weekly highs and lows reports. I'm Rose Shannon. After the break, Andrew Auger is here with the hottest Hollywood gossip.
Peerage is the most popular spot for late-night takeout and delivery for Marist students. Conveniently located right across from campus, Peerage is open until 2:30 a.m. on weeknights and 4 a.m. Thursday through Saturday. Their extensive menu includes a variety of appetizers, soups and salads, gourmet pizza, and homemade entrees. Specialty pizzas are sold by slice or by pie and include chicken bacon ranch, buffalo chicken, baked ziti, garden, and many more. Be sure to try new this semester, the Bus, a sandwich that can satisfy even the biggest appetite. Stop in today or call to place an order.
Yo, Drew, I got your text. What's up?
I don't know. Jake's been quoting lines from Pulp Fiction all day.
Yo, Jake, what's up?
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
What are you even saying?
Say what again?
Who say what?
Does he look like a bitch?
We are literally the only two people in this room right now.
That is a tasty burger.
Do we call a doctor or something?
I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger.
Now that's a threat.
The Middle Seats, every other Thursday, only on MCTV.
Andrew Auger from The Middle Seats. Here are tonight's top stories. The top story tonight belongs to someone who hasn't had nearly enough media attention in the past few weeks, Taylor Swift. Miss Swift, hot off the release of 1989, released the music video for the second single off the album, titled Blank Space. As per usual with most Swift videos, the views are off the charts, with the video registering over 9 million watches in 24 hours. A lot of people are focusing on the aspect of the video that shows Swift as an insane, jealous girlfriend who torments her poor boyfriend, I'd like to focus on another really insane aspect of the video. I'll call this segment Taylor Swift. Animal hoarder? Swift is pictured with several different animals throughout the video, from a small unsuspecting kitten to 3 massive Great Danes to even a random deer just hanging out in her living room right next to the fireplace. The most insane image is the one behind me, which features 2 random horses just kind of chilling next to Taylor's bed. First of all, Taylor, did you make the horses go up the stairs to get into your bedroom? Because horses notoriously cannot go downstairs. They will break their legs, and that's some sociopathic stuff right there. Second, my theory is that Taylor Swift uses magical powers that she has and not telling anybody to turn all of the men who have crossed her into submissive animals. You may be saying I'm crazy. Think about it. When was the last time you really saw Joe Jonas? That's what I thought. If you have any thoughts or theories or questions or comments about Taylor Swift, send us a tweet with #stop at the end, because please, I really don't want to talk about her anymore. We are never getting back together. Ever. Like ever. Anyways, in making you feel super old news, Sesame Street turned 45-year-old today. The classic PBS educational program debuted in 1969, and characters such as Big Bird, Elmo, Bert, Ernie, Cookie Monster, and Grover have been staples of popular culture for years. Happy birthday, Sesame Street. You've made it to an age that most of your viewers can't even count to. In a rough tonal change, 2 of the biggest rappers in the industry are under fire for touching on some controversial subjects, to put it lightly. Nicki Minaj has been taking heat for the Nazi-esque imagery in the lyric video for her new song Only, while Eminem has been criticized for a lyric in his new song Shady 15, in which he references punching Lana Del Rey like Ray Rice. The rap industry is no stranger to controversy, with Nicki Minaj's own Anaconda and Eminem's Stan being just 2 songs to stir the ethics pot. Speaking of controversy, there was a minor upset at the box office this past weekend, as Disney's Big Hero 6 defeated Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. Big Hero 6 earned $56 million, while Interstellar took home $47 million. Pundits agree that both films are going to play well and consistently throughout the holiday season. This weekend, Dumb and Dumber 2 fulfills the promise of a sequel 20 years in the making, while 3 independent films with serious Oscar buzz are dropped into limited release. Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons headline Whiplash, Jon Stewart makes his directorial debut with Rosewater, and Steve Carell, Mark Ruffalo, and Channing Tatum star in true-life thriller Foxcatcher. That's all for entertainment this week. I'm Andrew Auger. That's all I have to say. Check out my show, The Middle Seats, almost every week on MCTV.
Thanks, Andrew. In local news, the Common Core curriculum has been controversial since its implementation, but now members of the Wappingers Falls community have the chance to voice their opinions. A Wappingers Central School District's Common Core Forum is to take place November 19th at Roy C. Ketchum High School. Community members and educational experts will have the opportunity to discuss potential advantages, disadvantages, and concerns about the curriculum in this open to the public forum. Community members are encouraged to either attend the forum or submit their questions via email.
A new study has found that single-use laundry pods are a serious and common hazard for small children. Within the past 2 years, popular pods have sent an average of 1 child per day to hospitals across the U.S. Poison control centers took more than 17,000 calls last year. The 2014 numbers have not yet been released, but the dangers continue. Lead researcher Gary Smith encourages parents who use the packets to store them out of reach and out of sight of children, and ideally under lock and key.
You know what those pods are good for, though?
You know, we should have them under lock and key and out of sight anyway. That should be common knowledge.
No, completely. Like, that's like anything, any type of detergent, like anything should be under lock and key.
We don't really have those problems with the dishwasher pods, so I'm not sure why we're having those problems with the laundry detergent pods. I mean, when I was a kid, my parents always had those types of things, like chemicals, cleaning things, on the highest shelf. I'm not really sure why
exactly. Or like they have those little like I know my parents had those little like white things that like keep the cabinets shut so that kids can't get in.
Right,
So.
childproofing your house. That's always a great idea. I'm not quite sure why there's such a big problem with this. I think it's universal knowledge that chemicals are very bad for children. So I think the common solution to this would be, again, to keep your chemicals under lock and key.
Completely. You know what those pods are good for, though? Getting out those grass stains.
Every soccer mom knows that story. And speaking of sports, we have our own Ryan Pavlicek here with This Week in Sports. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Amber. Mark Sanchez entered his first game as starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles without ever throwing for 300 yards, multiple touchdowns, and no interceptions. Well, 64 starts later, on a Monday night, Sanchez led the Eagles to their 7th win of the season after throwing for 332 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Jets fans should feel sick to their stomachs after that, but at least they have their first win since Week 1 after shocking the Steelers by a score of 20-13. Matthew Stafford led the Detroit Lions to their 3rd consecutive fourth-quarter comeback as they maintain a 1-game lead on the Green Bay Packers, who demolished the Chicago Bears by a score of 55-14 behind 6 touchdowns from Aaron Rodgers, all in the first half. I think the Cheeseheads are finally relaxed. This Sunday night, all eyes will be on Foxborough for a matchup between 2 MVP candidates who each had an extra week of preparation, Andrew Luck and Tom Brady. In NHL news, the Montreal Canadiens acquired defenseman Sergei Gonchar from the Dallas Stars in exchange for forward Travis Moen. After ridding themselves of the 41-year-old's $5 million annual salary, the Stars have made room to possibly make another move. The Islanders return home to Nassau Coliseum tonight to take on the Colorado Avalanche. They returned from a West Coast trip in which they ended on a 3-game win streak and improved to 9-5-0 on the season. This was behind a late third-period goal from Franz Nielsen and Yaroslav Halak, who got his 31st career shutout in a 1-0 win over the Phoenix Coyotes. All while the New York Rangers will look to get back on track at MSG as they go up against a Penguins team that has won 7 straight games. Another division leader in the East, the Tampa Bay Lightning, are on a win streak of their own as they've glided past their last 6 opponents. Great news out of Buffalo this past week as longtime Sabres announcer Rick Jeanneret was recently declared cancer-free. The announcement was made moments before the Sabres Hockey Fights Cancer game in Edmonton against the Oilers. And finally, the Mariners volleyball team will enter their final game of the regular season with 21 wins and a 1-game lead over rival Siena atop the MAC. Wide receiver Armani Martin broke the school record for touchdown receptions in a Mariners football loss to Stetson this past Saturday. That's all for me tonight. Be sure to check out my show, This Week in Sports, next Monday night.
Thanks, Ryan. Looks like there's a lot going on in sports around the country and at Marist.
Speaking of what's going on at Marist, tell us about your new segment, Marist Minute.
Yes, we have a new segment called Marist Minute, and our Marist correspondent, Liz Nafee, is going to be handling this one, but she couldn't be here today, so I'm going to do a little talking about that, and it'll be interesting. So, apparently, I'm not the only one who had no idea what these walls sitting across the street are, over by the Beck lot. I took a walk with our campus correspondent, Liz Nafee, to find out what this drama is all about. We asked people what they thought those walls were. Check it out.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. Honestly, I have no idea.
I have absolutely no idea.
I have absolutely no idea.
Originally, I had absolutely no idea.
Sure what they are.
Actually, I have no idea.
Walls?
I'm not really sure. They look like they might be preparing to build something else.
Say the windows at the sides to the rotunda.
Well, I have heard a rumor that they are testing out a certain structure with the walls.
I thought it was like a mini Stonehenge that they were just building.
I assumed it was for the new rotunda building.
I think it's just Marist trying to rub in our face that they're still going to be doing some construction somehow.
Actually, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be for like a new dorms or something. I think they're like tearing down Gartland soon enough.
Hi, Mom.
I was actually kind of hoping maybe they're going to build an actual gate right there.
I thought they were going to line them up and make like a whole row that connected to the tunnel.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you what these walls actually are. Apparently, construction workers are studying the way that stones look on the walls. I mean, they look identical to me, but not to the people building the new science building here at Marist. So, what do you guys think about this?
I didn't know what they were for.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I pass by them every day on my way to and from Backlot because that's where I park because I'm a commuter and I deal with the whole parking situation every day.
They tore down a bunch of trees. They did a whole bunch of construction. They made me move my car 8 o'clock in the morning. It was a disaster, but everyone's asking, what are these walls? And people thought they were art, and as you saw in the package, but really it was just construction workers checking out the stones.
They must be some pretty creative, stones.
I guess so.
People thinking they're
I think they look the same, but
I do too.
Another day at Marist, right?
Absolutely. Right. Residents in Texas claim they saw an extremely bright green-colored meteor Saturday. Although this has not been confirmed, it is still being investigated by NASA for further details. The so-called fireball was an unusual event that some people were lucky enough to catch on tape. The meteor is estimated to weigh 4,000 pounds at 400 feet wide and is shining 5 times brighter than the moon.
The Conservative Society of Uganda is planning a new anti-gay law. Although homosexual acts are already considered illegal, the law would outlaw funding or promotion of what they call unnatural acts. Gay rights activists think this law could be harsher than the previous one, and donors, including the U.S., have cut off funding as a form of protest.
National Security Advisor Susan Rice told reporters Friday details of President Obama's upcoming trip to China. Obama will hold a joint news conference with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The conference is being called as a result of press freedom and human rights issues in the country. The threat of Chinese hackers to U.S. business will also be addressed. Rice stated that the media may not have full access to the conference. As in the past, heavy press restrictions are likely to be put into place due to reservations among Chinese officials.
A mother in Dayton, Ohio recently purchased a toy wand for her 2-year-old daughter at a local dollar store. When the little girl peeled back a foil detail on the toy, her mother was surprised to find an image of a demonic-looking girl slitting her wrists. The mother was outraged after seeing this, while the store owner stated later that she should have expected something like this from the toy since it was called Evil Stick. The owner also mentioned that while the toy is not suitable for a toddler, it might be okay for an older child. Talk about disturbing. Okay, first of all, why are you marketing this? Why would anyone sell this?
I'm not sure why anyone would sell it in general, let alone to a child. So for the store owner to say that is a little bit ridiculous. I mean, I know we're talking a dollar store here, so not everything is as high quality as, let's say, Toys R Us, but still, that's really just very disturbing, the whole thing
I wouldn't spend $1 on something like that, no.
The whole thing is very disturbing. No. I mean, and just the image inside, that's extremely controversial, disgusting, disturbing. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
Completely.
Well, that's all the news we have for tonight. Be sure to tune in next week. I'm Amber Smith.
And I'm Clancy Burke. Good night.